Hello everyone, how are you today? I hope you're well. Today we're going to look at 50 more must-know English idioms. As you know by now, I love idioms and they can really help to take your English to the next level. So this is part 3 and we're going to go from 101 to 150. So let's start. I'm going to shift myself over here and let's start with number 101. Oops. Back to square one. This means to start again from the beginning. For example, we're back to square one after the rejection. How do you feel when you have to go back to square one? Has this ever happened to you before? Maybe if it's in your career, maybe you're changing careers, or it could be anything. For example, like a recipe. This has happened to me many times before. I would start out feeling very ambitious and motivated, and I would try to make something like a pancake, and then I would figure out that the mixture was made incorrectly. Maybe I added too much milk or not enough flour, and so I'd have to go back to square one and add the ingredients again. We have down to the wire. This means at the last moment. The vote went down to the wire. So if something is very close and it can be very tense, so it goes down to the last moment. Elephant in the room. This is a very common idiom. This means an obvious issue being ignored. For example, we need to address the elephant in the room. And this could be an issue that maybe you're ignoring. Maybe there's a colleague that constantly comes in late and you overlook this, but it can be a very big issue. Fall on deaf ears. This means to be ignored. My advice fell on deaf ears. So if you told someone, okay, I think you should practice or study a bit more for your exam, but the other person ignores your advice, this means your advice fell on deaf ears. To go overboard. This means to do too much. He went overboard with the decorations. Have you ever gone overboard with something? It could be celebrating a special occasion. It could be going on holiday. And you can go overboard by spending too much money, which is very common when you go on holiday. And one of the reasons could be because it's a different currency, so you don't equate the amount as much. To hit the ground running. This means to start fast and effectively. She hit the ground running in her new job. So usually this is very important in a job. You would have a bit of breathing space to get to know everything and the procedures, but usually managers want you to hit the ground running so you can start fast. In over your head. This means to be involved in something too difficult. He's in over his head with that project. This could also apply to a manager, for example. If there's a new manager in a football team and he's not very experienced, people could say he's in over his head. Join the ranks. This means to become part of a group. She joined the ranks of top performers. Keep it under wraps. This means to keep something secret. The launch is being kept under wraps. So here, if you think about wrapping paper, if you wrap a present, you want to keep it as a surprise. So here the company, they're They're trying not to leak any information about the product so that people are still excited about the product. Live and learn. This means to accept a mistake as a lesson. Well, live and learn, I guess. So live and learn, I think it's important to accept mistakes as part of life, because if you don't, it can make you feel very demotivated. And this is part of life. You don't expect to plant a seed and then immediately see it grow. It takes time, it takes patience. And when you are learning something, for example, with English, you're going to make mistakes. But accepting those mistakes, you live and learn and you move on from it. Make ends meet. This means to manage financially. We're struggling to make ends meet. So here the ends would be things like your bills, your rent, and it can be very difficult with everything becoming much more expensive with the cost of living crisis. So you don't have any money left over to save or to spend on your hobbies. No brainer. This means an easy decision. Taking the job was a no-brainer. So maybe there's a job that you applied for and it's closer to where you live. Maybe the pay is more. So it's a no-brainer to take this new job. Off the beaten track. I love this idiom, and it's nice to use when you are talking about holidays. So this means in a remote or less known place. We stayed somewhere off the beaten track. Or you could say, when I go on holiday, I love to go off the beaten track because I can learn more about the culture of the town or the city. Pass the buck. So this is more of an American idiom, and this means to shift responsibility. He passed the buck instead of fixing the problem. Quick fix. This means temporary and an easy solution. It's a quick fix, not a long-term plan. So a quick fix could be, for example, going on a short diet rather than eating healthily as a lifestyle choice. Rock the boat. This means to cause trouble or disturb things. Don't rock the boat during negotiations. Shape up or ship out. This means to improve or leave. It's time to shape up or ship out. So here the person is implying that you have to work harder or leave the job. Take the plunge. Do something big or risky. I finally took the plunge and started my business. I could say that for myself. I took the plunge and started this YouTube channel. So when you take the plunge, you do something big. You're not sure about the outcome, but you go for it anyway. Under the table. Secretly or illegally, they paid her under the table. So here they didn't pay her in an official way with a payslip. They may have paid her cash in hand. So this was under the table. Vote with your feet. This means showing dissatisfaction by leaving. People are voting with their feet and cancelling. So if they don't like a certain product or service, they can vote with their feet. So they literally can leave the company, they can leave the product and not purchase it. X marks the spot, the exact location. Here, X marks the spot on the map. So it's precisely the location. You've got another thing coming. This means you're wrong. If you think I'll help, you've got another thing coming. So you've got another thing coming. So this is quite an informal idiom. If someone implies or thinks you're going to do something which is outside of your job requirements, and they can be taking advantage of you by asking you to do more than that was expected, you could say, you've got another thing coming if you think I'm going to do this. Zero tolerance. No acceptance of rule breaking. There's zero tolerance for lateness here. Add fuel to the fire. This means to make a bad situation worse. Yelling just added fuel to the fire. So if someone is having an argument and someone keeps shouting or raising their voice, they're adding fuel to the fire. If you think about a fire, and you can leave it be and eventually it would die down, or you could add fuel to the fire. You could add more wood to the fire and that would make it bigger and keep going. Cut to the chase. This means to get to the point. Let's cut to the chase. What's your offer? So here, rather than going around the bush and rambling on, you want to cut to the chase. You want to find out the information and get to the point. I find politicians need to cut to the chase a lot of the time because they don't answer the question. Don't rock the boat. This means to not cause problems. We're nearly there. Don't rock the boat. So you can rock the boat by arguing with someone. If you want to keep the status quo, keep things calm, don't rock the boat. Every dog has its day. Everyone gets a chance eventually. Don't worry, every dog has its day. So if you're trying to do something and it's not working, you just have to keep going, keep trying, because every dog has its day. Eventually, you will succeed. From the horse's mouth, from the original source, I heard it from the horse's mouth. So this is quite a funny idiom. I can imagine a horse speaking in English. So here, when you want to know where some information came from, if it comes from the horse's mouth, it came from the original source. Often when you are spreading information via social media, the message can become distorted as it travels from person to person. So if you want to fact check and know, right, is this information true, you can go back to the horse's mouth to find out. Give someone the benefit of the doubt. This means to trust someone without proof. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. So here this is similar to innocent until guilty. So when you give someone the benefit of the doubt, you are trusting them and you are giving them a chance. Have your head in the clouds. This means to be unrealistic or dreamy. He always has his head in the clouds. I think sometimes it's good to have your head in the clouds because you have to dream, but then you have to be realistic and put in the hard work and the effort to get to your dreams. It takes two to tango. So here, both sides are responsible. Don't blame him alone. It takes two to tango. So if someone is having an argument and both people are arguing, it could take two to tango because the other person hasn't walked away and there are two people involved. Keep your nose to the grindstone. This means to work hard. He's got his nose to the grindstone all week. Let off steam. This is very common. This means to release pent-up energy or emotion. He goes running to let off steam. And I go to the gym to let off steam, and it reduces stress and I feel better afterwards. Make your blood boil, another very common one. This means to make you very angry. That injustice makes my blood boil. So if there's an Arsenal match and the referee has made a terrible decision, he can make my blood boil to the point that I want to turn the TV off. Not my cup of tea, a very common British idiom. This means not something you like. So reality TV is not my cup of tea. For me, romantic shows are not really my cup of tea. Pull the wool over someone's eyes. This means to deceive someone. They tried to pull the wool over his eyes. So I can think about like a hat, a woolly hat or a woolly jumper, and you're pulling it over someone's eyes so they cannot see. Read the riot act. This means giving a strong warning or reprimand. The boss reads us the riot act after the mistake. So if you have done something very wrong and it's a huge mistake, you will get told off, you will be given a warning, and the rules will be explained to you. So having the riot act given to you, it's not a pleasant experience. The tip of the iceberg. This means a small visible part of a bigger issue. These complaints are just the tip of the iceberg. If you think about an iceberg, it looks big on the top, but underneath it's huge, it's enormous. So just to have the tip of the iceberg just means to see the small part of a bigger issue. Blow your own trumpet. This means to brag about your own achievements. He's always blowing his own trumpet about his sales figures. So brag here, this means to constantly talk about your own achievements. So this person has a big ego. They think of themselves highly. They're not humble. Sometimes it can be good to blow your own trumpet, because if you don't talk about your achievements, no one else will. But there's a fine line between going overboard and not relating that information relevantly. Throw your toys out of the pram. This means to react in a childish or overly dramatic way. He threw his toys out of the pram when his idea wasn't chosen. So a pram is where you put a baby and you would push the pram. And if a baby is angry or upset, they would throw their toys out of the pram and then you'd have to go and pick them up. Have a mare. This is a British idiom. This means having a terrible time. I had a mare at work today. Everything went wrong. It's when you're having a very bad day. Chuffed to bits. This means very pleased or happy. She was chuffed to bits with her exam results, and I would be chuffed to bits if you like this video. Comment below and let me know what is your favorite idiom. Also let me know where you are from, and also don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Skive off. This means to avoid work or school. He skived off school to go to the beach. A damp squib. This means something disappointing after the build-up. This is very informal. The fireworks show was a bit of a damp squib, to be honest. Lose the plot. This means to go crazy or act irrationally. He completely lost the plot after being told off. Faff about. This means to waste time doing unimportant things. Stop faffing about and get on with your work. So this is when you are wasting time. Gutted. This is extremely informal. This is British slang, and this means to be extremely disappointed. I was gutted when I missed the concert. Take the biscuit. This means to be the most extreme example. It's often negative. I've heard some excuses, but that really takes the biscuit. If you were late for work and it was just because you were lazy or woke up late, but instead you said, my alarm was broken, then 2 of the buses broke down, and then the bus was also late, and then there was so much traffic. So here it's like a very absurd excuse, and it takes a biscuit, especially if this person has been late every day this week. Bob's your uncle. This is a very old-fashioned idiom, but I still do use it from time to time. This means everything is fine and sorted out. It's as simple as that. So you just add water, stir, and Bob's your uncle. Dinner is ready. So there are 50 more idioms. If you haven't seen the other 2 videos, I highly suggest you do. And using idioms is such a fantastic way to improve your English. Also remember, I have created a completely free ebook for you. It contains 5 brilliant tips to help you to improve your English straight away. I have taught thousands of students from all around the world one-to-one, and I have learnt a lot of things along the way. So these tips have really helped my students, and they can help you too. The ebook is completely free and the link is in my description. Thank you so much for watching this lesson. Watch this video next. I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next lesson. Thank you and bye-bye.